We travel next along the Great Chang, or Yangtze River, in the area surrounding the city of Nanjing. Here, in a small farming village, a new development has taken place. Industrialization in the form of a blue jean manufacturing plant has dramatically transformed the lives of these townspeople. China's longest river is the Changjiang. As it flows through the Jiangsu province, it widens and deepens as it nears the end of its long journey to the sea. The village of Xiya, on the outskirts of Nanjing, has always been a rice farming village. It has seen major changes in the past few years. Young women arrive at 7 a.m. to begin their day at the village garment factory. China's remarkable economic growth in recent years is often ascribed to the rapid development of town and village-run enterprises. The Huafa Garments Company in Xiha is typical of these kinds of businesses. The question is, how has this small factory affected life in the village where it is located? Nanjing is a large city with an ancient past. Blessed by the waters of the Changjiang, this region has long been a thriving agricultural region. The village of Xiha is located 30 kilometers southwest of Nanjing. Its economic development has been aided by this proximity. Onodera Jun, a Japanese geographer at the University of Hong Kong, visited the area in October 1994, looking at how township enterprises are affecting the lifestyles and landscapes of agricultural villages in China. The factory has just finished an order for jeans. They will be shipped to Hong Kong and then to New York. Factories such as this one are very different from China's massive national corporations. Whether run by a municipal township, village council, or private individual, this type of business is called a township enterprise. Today, the factory has 350 sewing machines and 450 employees. 20 years ago, when it started, it had only 20 employees. Between 1984 and 1986, the factory grew rapidly. In 1990, it attracted its first foreign investors from Hong Kong. So many workers are needed that the village can no longer keep up with the supply. Almost 20% of the workers have come here from neighboring Anhui province. Under the government's new policy of freer markets, businesses are able to engage in a wider range of activities. Now their profits are more closely tied to their efforts.
Why did you decide to work here?
I started working here 15 years ago, right after I graduated from middle school. This company is special. I've gotten attached to it, and it would be hard to leave.
October is harvest time. The Changjiang River Basin region is typical of rice cultivation in China. Some factory workers take time off in the fall to help out in the fields. Agriculture is still the mainstay of life in Xiha. At 11:30 a.m., the factory closes for lunch. Most of the employees live in the village and work from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m., with 2 days off per month. They earn between 200 and 300 yuan a month. Since many employees live nearby, they go home for lunch. Onodera visits the home of Rui Chen-young. 3 members of this family work at the factory. Rui's wife, Jiang Guifeng, is preparing lunch for the younger generation. Today's lunch is green pepper and pork stir-fry. One welcome change in Siha is that fresh vegetables are readily available from village fields. Daughter Rui Kai-mei comes home from the factory where she makes sewing patterns. Her 6-year-old daughter has been waiting for her. This boy is another grandchild, the only son of Rui's eldest son. Houses in Sia are built of concrete with large yards like this one. Lunch is served. Kai-mei's husband also works in the factory. He is a purchasing agent. Rui's son's wife works in the factory's shipping department. Electrical appliances have become more prevalent over the last couple of years. Jiang Guifeng tells us that their 2-story concrete house was built in 1988, the same year they purchased this washing machine. This air conditioner was just purchased this summer. About 30% of the villagers have a VCR. However, almost everyone has had a color television set for several years now.
In our village, there isn't anyone who is really poor. Almost everyone lives in the same kind of house. The reason for this is simple. It's the factory. Everyone works in the factory and has an income. 3 or 4 members, or even 7 members of a family, work in the factory. With everyone working, you can accomplish great things, like building a house.
In China, families are registered as farming families or urban families. It is difficult to move to the city and change one's registration. Improved farming methods have meant fewer hands are needed on the farms, so village factories play a vital role in providing work for those no longer needed in the fields. Zhang Guifeng does all the family's farming. Most of the harvest of rice and vegetables is eaten by the family. The rest is sold. The family as a whole earns over 10,000 yuan a year. Farming income represents only a small fraction of the whole. Meat and fish are plentiful in the market today. Rising incomes have fostered a lively free market in Sihai.
As more foreign capital flows into the area, more labor is needed than can be supplied locally. Also, as the population increases, there's an increasing need for services for the new residents. More people create the need for businesses, which in turn attracts even more people. This cycle will be repeated over and over, resulting in rapid urbanization. While this process is especially noticeable near Hong Kong, I believe that we will see the same thing happening in the vicinity of Nanjing and across southern Jiangsu province.
Well, this case study proves that modernization and industrialization and development are not necessarily just urban phenomena. This village that we've seen here, where the factory is making textiles that are part of the global market, that go to global markets, are not urbanized. They take a village where people are earning very little. Instead of having people attracted to a factory in a crowded city, they're taking the factory and moving it to a village that is admittedly in an urban shadow, but is not right in Nanjing. So they got the best of both worlds. These people can stay in their village. They're working in that factory. Now, as you heard, there's some pretty tough conditions. I mean, those are long hours and very few days off. As we remember, 2 days a month off and a long working day. But they could go home for lunch. They could walk home for lunch and see their families, and therefore feel as though they're part of a community, which of course is one of the great things about village life. So you have here a combination of modernization, industrialization, and non-migration. It could be a secret for China if it were possible to get industrial enterprises to place themselves in such a way that people can stay where they are rather than having to be attracted to places like Shanghai or Nanjing, downtown Nanjing, or Wuhan, or the famous one near Hong Kong, Shenzhen, where enormous industrialization took place, resulting in fantastic dislocation in the countryside, not only in the province of Guangdong, but way beyond. You noticed how well the people were living by Chinese standards in this village that is so transformed by this factory. But there always is a danger. The factory is banking on the low wages and the long hours that these people are working. And it has found it possible to transform this community. But if the factory owners or the global corporation finds a cheaper place to build a factory where the jeans can be produced for still less money, they'll be glad to abandon this factory and go someplace else, put it in Burma or put it in northern Sumatra, and leave this place high and dry. So while there is advantage now and people are living in nice houses and buying air conditioners and VCRs, the moment may come when they wake up in the morning and the global enterprise will say, you've become too expensive. If you can afford all these things, we can do cheaper work someplace else, and the factory leaves. That's the risk.